Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you can see, this is a little different. This cockpit's a little different from everything we've seen before, and that is because I spent $50 on the Aerosoft CRJ550 and 700 bundle, which is on the marketplace for Microsoft Flight Sim for 50 bucks. I've done a couple of flights in this thing already, and I'm loving it. It's fantastic. And according to a real CRJ700 pilot, this thing is actually study level. So that's pretty cool. It has a fully custom interior and autopilot. Everything here is fully custom, and it's only 50 bucks. It's a fantastic plane. It's built by, well, it was built by Bombardier. However, I believe in 2019 or 2020, it was sold off to Mitsubishi. So yeah, it's a small regional jet, and we're going to be flying from San Francisco to Los Angeles as Delta 4151, which is operated by Skywest. So as you can see, we are in a Delta Connection. It's meant to be a Skywest. There it is. Delta Connection, Skywest. There are some kinks in this plane, one of which, so in the A32NX, when you insert a flight plan into the MCD manually, I found a way to actually get an IFR clearance and use the in-game ATC without breaking it. For some reason, it just takes your cruise altitude and screws it up or something, so you just have to request a higher cruise altitude, which is great. So I learned to do that. However, it seems with this plane, you cannot request an IFR flight plan at all. Normally in every plane, the way you do it to even get the option to request an IFR flight plan, you put in an origin, put in a destination, boom, you get the option. In this plane, no, you do not. Meaning, our chances of using ATC are practically zero. But yeah, let's get into it. She's a fantastic plane. I love it. Another kink in it is the glide slope. It of course can do an ILS approach. No auto landing, but it can do an ILS approach. And I've noticed when I click the approach mode here, when I click the approach button, when everything's set in, the frequency's set, this is set to a localizer and all that, it'll intercept the localizer. However, the little ILS diamond, when it, it's meant to, the plane is meant to automatically catch the glide slope. However, in my most recent flight it did not do that. It passed. It'd be easier if this plane was on to describe it, but so it comes with this Aero OS little iPad here. You got a whole bunch of checklists. You got a performance here. You can calculate your V1 speeds, your landing speeds. You can put in a certain amount of passengers, cargo, fuel. It gives you your takeoff trim. You get all of this. You can open up the passenger door, the GPU, the ground power unit, the ground air car. You can even adjust the cabin lights. You got a service door, cargo doors, wheel chocks, and you can have different aircraft states here. I've set it to default cold and dark. However, of course, you can have turnaround, ready for startup, ready for taxi, stuff like that. We got this maintenance thing to stow for all of this. So we can stow the oxygen masks, reset the brake temp, refill the oxygen, reconnect the IDGs, and stow the ADG. And then we also got some options here: autopilot disconnected, yoke sensitivity, throttle detent hints. I don't really, I mean, it says PFD. I don't know. I've never really noticed it. I mean, when I apply like toga thrust, it pops up with a little thing saying toga. But other than that, I've not really known what this does. Of course, change your temperature units, your weight units, your barometrics, flight director modes, and your IRS line time. We got some different sound options. They're pretty cool, the flight attendant and cabin announcements. However, I found them a little bit annoying. I'll turn them on though, just for this. We also got this low-cost carrier. I don't know what that means. I don't like that. I'm worried to ever turn it on. You can change your PFD colors and calibrate your throttle. Of course, I'm not going to recalibrate my throttle. My throttle's pretty good. Practically every switch in this plane is interactable. In fact, I don't think there's a single button that isn't interactable. Whether or not they all do stuff. Oh, I just realized what I pressed. That's probably not good. But yeah, I think literally every single button in this plane is interactable. You can even raise the armrest. Like, it's a fantastic aircraft. It really is. We can screw around with... I believe, I'm going to say it again. I think every single button in this cockpit is interactable. Maybe not on the yoke, but... Well, never mind. But we can interact with the oxygen masks. We got this little sky cam. Shows us videos. Well, not videos, but like just stock images, I guess, of the cabin. We can unlock the flight deck door, however, we cannot open the cockpit door. Now, in most aircraft, you'd think that's because, oh, you know, no modeled cabin. I'm going to show you something. If I can remember how to use the drone camera. Yeah. Yeah. So, of course, you got the plane there, and, you know, most planes don't have a modeled interior. However, this plane does. This plane actually has a modeled cabin. Man, you are dirty. There we go. I'm just trying to. Good enough. Like, it's got a fully modeled cabin. It's not high detail, of course. You're not gonna ever be in. Oh, what'd I do? Oops. Not ever gonna be in here, but it's still cool to see it. Is that a little intake? Like what? An intake for the APU or something? Bro, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We can take a look inside the wheel wells. We can actually go inside the cargo bay. Frick. Keep on pressing that button to reset the drone camera. Yeah, we can take a look inside the cargo bays. And if I can find it. Hey, there it is. This little 80G. Overall, this plane is just, it's amazing. I love it. It doesn't have an auto throttle. So I'm gonna have some fun. Ooh, okay. Alright. So I got my sim brief here. Put it into the FMS. We're gonna get this plane ready to go here. So we're going to come here. Actually, I don't need to use you. So let's attach the ground air and the ground power. We'll just open up the cargo doors. We'll open up the passenger door and lower the guardrails. And we'll attach the jetway there. You do attach visual cables, correct? I feel like I know it does. I don't know if it does with this aircraft. It's not looking like it. I know. Maybe I actually have to When I first flew this plane, it was a flight from Louisville to Detroit. And it was raining. So that was fun. Get all this up. It's a fantastic aircraft. It really is. I absolutely love it. Alright, so we can of course check out our oxygen masks. And like I said, we got this. Got a little day and night featured. These are just images. They're not. They are not at all dynamic. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what all this is. What all of it means. I don't know how much of it is actually a necessity and how much of it is just kind of whatever. Hey Siri, what's the time in San Francisco?
It's 7:15 a.m. San Francisco.
I thought that local time meant the time for me, because like right now it's 10:15. I saw it was 7:15. I was like, hey, wait a minute, 7:15 in San Francisco. So it's not based on where you are. It's based on wherever the heck you are in the sun. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't notice that. Our fire detection stuff, Fire X monitor test. I believe that's. I'm also pretty sure there's something else for that. Yeah, cargo, Fire X. Now we have the chocks in, so we don't need the parking brake, so I'll disengage that. External lights. Turn on the navigation and logo lights. Fuel panel trap, which is this. Got our boost pumps and all that, but other than that, I'm pretty sure this starts out good, other than, of course, the boost pumps. Our bleed air panels, which is right here. Everything should be set to, I'm pretty sure, though, that's meant to be open. Don't know. APU panel on. So we start with the APU, we click this, the power fuel, and then we click the start stop. And that should fire up the APU. Starter panel, I believe that's this. Hydraulic panel checked, auto on. Now, according to, I wrote down, I spent like an hour writing down checklists for this, and I found that, then I found out that Aerosoft provided checklists for it in this sim. It says that, I believe it said that 3B needs to be, actually, wait, you know what? I have it. I'll just check. Because like I said, I wrote down checklists, and it's probably more detailed in how to do it than what it is on that iPad there, but it's a lot more easier to use it. But according to this, hydraulic pump 3A is meant to be set to on, and all the other hydraulic pumps are meant to be auto. Now, that wouldn't be too bad if this could only be set to off and auto. Every other pump can be set on except this one that's meant to be on. So for that reason, I just set everything to auto. Unless I'm dumb and actually misread it, I don't know. ELT armed. Cabin pressure panel. I don't know, man. It's also kind of hard to read some of this stuff, but realism I'm keeping where I am. Air conditioning panel. So this is the AC panel, of course. We'll fire up the packs, I guess. Put a little heat. Let me turn on that fan. Pretty sure you can hear the APU coming up. Yep, available. We actually take a look. The APU has a little flap. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm pretty sure because we have the APU up, we can disconnect that and can send the ground power and ground air away. Anti-ice checked. We're probably not going to be using the anti-ice, but the windshield heat goes to low. Turn the probes on after engine start. Emergency lights armed. Standby compass checked. Now the standby compass is this. It's probably good because I think I have it set to where they automatically do whatever the heck they do. Nose wheel steering off. Clocks. You should be good. Your clock. Instrument panels. Bleh. Upper pedestal and thrust lever quadrant checked. That should all be that. Now it says avionics on. As from what I've tested, only one switch on my Honeycomb Bravo works. That's the avionics. Now you might be thinking, oh well, the avionics are already on. No, they're not. I don't know what switch this flips in this plane, if it does anything, but I have an avionics switch on my Honeycomb Bravo, and without it, the radio don't work. Nothing else seems affected by it. Trims checked. No, but now would probably be a good time to check out my my sim brief. So according to sim brief, we have a block fuel of 3,441 kilograms to do the flight. I'm gonna bump that up. That's the wrong thing, but we'll go like 63 passengers with we'll add a little bit more cargo in the forward and a bit more cargo in the back. And our fuel, so we need, like I said, we need 3,441. We'll bump that up to like 6,198. Still below our max takeoff. We'll set the payload in the simulator so it changes all of this, and we'll just go ahead and copy the performance data to the FMS. Simply because that's easier for me. Instead of, because I don't know everything about this FMS. In fact, I know very little. I know how to put in a flight plan. That's basically it. We'll do a flaps 8 takeoff, runways dry, set the V1, VR, V2 and stuff, and we'll set the landing speeds. Our takeoff trim is 7.1. We find our trim right here. So 7.1, there we go. Okay, so the trims are good. Yaw damper is right here, and we also want to engage all that. I don't think you actually work until I get my engines up. Yeah. Source select panel should be set to FMS. Yep. Before start, passenger signs on. We'll set our no smoking signs on. We'll also turn our seatbelt signs on. Landing elevation set. Now this is it. I watched a tutorial saying that when you mess with the landing elevation, the plane don't like you, essentially. FMS checked set. It's not, but we will set it. IRS, we're gonna go ahead and align those. Now we do this. In real life, this route is flown by an Embraer E175, which is on the marketplace. However, from what I've heard, it's absolutely crap, and either way, I wanted the CRJ. There's a couple of things here. If I can find them, I think we go to this. Yeah, cruise out. Our cruising altitude is 37,000, so we'll just put that in. We'll execute. One thing I've also noticed with this plane, when you're building your flight plan in the FMS, it gets really laggy. So if you don't click execute, it gets very laggy. Like seriously, I'm running at almost 60 FPS here. Most settings are at medium. Windshield effects are at ultra, and I believe glass cockpit refresh rate is set to like high, and my clouds are also set to high now. I'm running at about 50 to 60 FPS here in San Francisco with live traffic enabled and live weather and time and photogrammetry and all that. I'm running at like 50 to 60 FPS. That's what I was running at when I did all this. In fact, I was running at a solid 60 when I was testing this over by Atlanta, because why not? And I was building my flight plan. I was like, why is it so laggy? I was getting like 10 to 20 FPS. I was so confused. I was looking through and I was like, oh, I didn't execute my thing. Execute. Boom, 60 FPS. And I was like, what? confused me. I didn't know what to expect or what to think of that. Anyways, so we're going to start this by going to a flight plan, entering our origin, which is, of course, KSFO. Entering our destination, which is KLAX. Our alternate being KONT. And then we go ahead and execute that. And then we go to departure and arrivals page. And we find our takeoff runway. Our takeoff runway and our SID, which is 28 right. 28 right on the Wesla 4. Thank God it exists. And we'll go ahead and execute that. We'll go to flight plan. Oh yeah, flight number 4151. This gets very, then not no. This So even though I of course have it, I have my call sign in the sim set to Delta, and I don't have a flight number because I like to just put it in here. However, I've noticed in this plane, it does not register the FMS, and because of course you can't just be Delta, unless of course you made that your tail number. It's gonna be going off of our tail number, which is not that. Somewhere that doesn't exist on this plane, but it's gonna be going off of a tail number that is not us, which is unfortunate. Okay, anyways, back to the routing. We'll go to the next page here. So from there, we go direct to eBay. And then direct to Burgle. Alright, and that's it. Go back to the departure and arrival. Get to the index. Arrival. We'll do an ILS 25 left approach on the just on this, the India Romeo November Mike November 2 star. Boom. That's all set. Not noticing any lag with it. Yet again, this is a somewhat short flight plan. Now it should be set. Now we're gonna go through the flight plan here. Now these we're gonna actually go to Lex for this, but this discontinuity here, I never know what to make of it. So what I always do is delete it. And when it gives us vectors here, since the sim doesn't like vectors, I also delete it. Because the discontinuity seems to put a break in the flight plan. So does the vectors, because I'm assuming, of course, ATC would vector you in from there, because vectors, you know, make sense. However, ATC sucks in Microsoft Flight Sim. But we should be good now. We're also going to lower the range of these to 20 miles. Alright, FMS is set. IRS should be aligned by now. Oh, it's not. Now I remember seeing in one single place, in one of these, how long until it aligns, I've never been able to find it yet afterwards. I don't know where it is. I have no clue. Cass. Yep, I have no clue. No clue. But it should be aligning here soon. Hopefully. Okay. Radios and nav aids set. Now, let me show you what I mean. So normally, of course, like I said, like in the A32NX, if I just put in, you know, KSFO slash KLAX, put it into the from to in the in an A page, it would immediately give us a thing here to request an IFR flight plan. However, we're gonna tune to ground because for some reason there's no clearance delivery frequency. We're gonna tune to ground and it's not gonna appear. If it does, I'll be surprised. Yeah, see? Nothing. In fact, there's only 2 frequencies here at San Francisco and Microsoft Flight Sim. Ground and tower. But yeah, nothing. It's all VFR. Which sucks. Really does. Go ahead and just set that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I ain't taxing until that IR lines. So it'd be nice if you could you know, align like 3, 2, 1, 0. Not that lucky. All right. Oh, there it is. All right. What is this? Audio warnings. Now this is also a printer. There's a printer here. I don't know how to use it, is all I'll say. Hey, our door's unlocked. Does that actually change? No. That's unfortunate. Huh. Must be closed and locked at all times. Yeah, well, slightly impossible. Slightly impossible to lock that door. Alright, well that's all good. Let's say we went ahead and we got our clearance, so let's just this. We'll move the jetway. Goodbye, jetway. There we go. And we'll close that door there. Close the cargo doors.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and crew, welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us. Before takeoff, we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft.
Yep. We'll remove the wheel chocks. We'll call the tug. We will apply the parking. Let me pull that. That's the emergency. That's like the gravity drop for the landing gear. So if like our engines failed and we had no hydraulics, or we just lost all hydraulics and we needed to land, you know, chances of us landing in this plane with no hydraulics is very, 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 very low, considering the fact that this plane kind of, you know, requires hydraulics. But if just somehow we managed to keep this thing in the air and would be able to land, we just let gear down. Now, I'm pretty sure this ADG is also used to supply hydraulic and electricity if you lose all engines, including your APU. I'm not too sure. Anyways, we're attached to this dude. We'll release our parking brake, go back to checklists, cleared to start. Of course, all personal electronic devices off, APU on, electrics checked, takeoff data set, doors closed and locked. Turn on the beacon light here. Fuel pumps and quantity. Fuel pumps are on. Well, fuel pumps are on. And the boost pumps are. And we get 6,170 kilograms of fuel. Hydraulic pumps are all auto. Parking brake is off. We will begin our actual pushback. Now, the way you start this thing, you just go this. You turn on the starter for engine 2, or the right engine. You pay attention to this when it reaches 20% into, push this from shut off into idle. How much clear? How much? Okay, yeah, we're good. That's about it. Okay, we're good. And that, put it into 20%. I mean to idle, and then engine number 1. I was flying around here in a G36 earlier, and it was very windy. I'm not expecting much to have changed. And into 20%. Engines off.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And now
please pay attention
we can
as
turn
we
on the yaw
display
damper.
safety features
Aha.
and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain. If there is smoke
Turn
in
on
the
the parking
cabin
brake.
during the evacuation of the aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will display to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing,
Generators
you'll be instructed to
should
get into the
already
brace
be
position,
on.
which is
Well,
executed
auto,
by
yeah.
placing your head between your knees with your hands
Electrics
over your
checked. Bleed valves
We
are
would
already
also
set to
like to
auto.
remind you
Packs
that
are
you can
on,
turn
and then we
off all
just turn off the APU by just
We thank you for paying attention during this
boom.
brief presentation.
Anti-ice on off. Like I said, we're not going to be needing our anti-ice. Probably. However, we will turn the probes on. I've noticed with the anti-ice. Now, I don't know if this is a actual feature of the aircraft, but let's take a look at our N1 here for engine 2. 21.3. 21.3. If we turn on the anti-ice, the N1 increases. I've found that out in some bad spots when I'm holding short of the runway. I mean, not holding short, but I've taxied off the runway, and I'm just kind of sitting there going over the checklist, making sure we're all good. And I've had the anti-ice on, and with most planes, you kind of stay still. You don't have to apply the parking brake. I look up from down here and all that. I look up, and I'm like rolling at 20 knots. Anyways, nose wheel steering. Armed. Taxi checklist, slats, and flaps. We'll go with head and set takeoff flaps, which is 8 degrees. Flight controls, checked. That rudder issue is not an issue with the plane. That's my joystick. And I can't fix it. But it's fine. Trims, checked in green. Good. Dust reversers. Armed. Flight instruments checked. I mean, they should be good. And, brake temp cell 0. Now, I'm good. Despite the fact that it doesn't matter, I am just going to put in a random squawk code. That's good. And then we'll, put her on there. Alright. Please give me to it, right?
San Francisco ground, Skywest 4151, request taxi
Skywest,
for
not
takeoff,
Delta.
straight out departure.
Shoot.
Cross runway 19er right Foxtrot, 1 cross runway
How do
01
you
right
start
Foxtrot, 1 Foxtrot cross runway 28 left Charlie. Contact tower on 120.5 when ready.
Just for the sake of, I don't want to listen to it again. But it did give us
Taxi
28
to
right.
and hold short runway
So that's
28
good.
right via taxiway Alpha Foxtrot, 1 cross runway 19er right Foxtrot,
that
1 cross
parking brake?
runway 01 right Foxtrot, 1 Foxtrot cross runway 28 left Charlie, Skywest 4151.
This plane is fantastic. It's unfortunate that the CRJ isn't being used by many companies much anymore, in favor of the more modern, I guess, the more modern and sophisticated Embraers. It's unfortunate, but I get it. Now, like I said about the glide slope issue, which speaking of, I should probably set in the ILS frequency. Alright, I'll do that now. I'll do that now while also trying to taxi. So I'm going to be flipping through a binder, trying to find the frequency, and then putting it into the radio. While also trying to taxi. You gotta go through like 3-4 pages. Well, no, like 25 pages, but off on the throttle. Turn a bit left. LAX 2. What runway am I landing on? Is it 25 right or 25 left? I think it was 25 left. A sim brief. Wanna help me out here, bud? 25 left. 25 left to 1099. Oh, hey. Switch out the active, of course. And, so you put in the, localizer heading by, switching this nav source to loc. Then use this course nav. However, I don't think it's actually gonna work for us. Because, we're too far out. So, I will come back to this once we're closer. Now, it's like 300 miles or something. Also, should, probably set the autopilot here. Now, unlike most planes, where I can use my Honeycomb Bravo to set up the, everything here, I can't use it. I think I can activate buttons. Like, I think, yeah, I can, like, activate the heading, the nav,
Ladies and gentlemen,
approach,
that we are now cleared for takeoff.
altitude, vertical speed, and speed mode. However, I can't, dial anything like altitude. See? I'm flipping, it's right here. I'm flipping that. It's meant to be moving, it's not. If I just set heading, you know, heading bug, not working. I know it's working, because I was using it right before this flight. It's just not with this aircraft, which is fine, because I haven't been using that so much for airliners. More in favor of just dialing it in manually. It's easier. Now, however, with this plane, it's not easier. These dials are sometimes way too sensitive and too not sensitive. Because no ATC, we're going to set this to a cruise altitude of 37,000. See, now this is what, there we go. We're going to set our speed mode, which is kind of like flight level change. So essentially, once we're in the air, we're just going to activate nav and speed. And what it's going to try to do is it's going to try and climb to this altitude at this speed at a vertical rate that it can stay at to keep this speed. So now I've also noticed that this plane can climb fast, like ungodly fast. You can be climbing at 240 knots, barely have any nose up attitude, climbing at like 4,000 feet per minute. It's fantastic. I love it. Anyways, there we go. Flight director on. Oh, flight director was on. Not landing with me, so that's okay. Anyways, but that's all set.
Clear to land runway 28 left number 2 horizon.
G-Class, you are just, you're an auto. Put you to this.
Skywest tree, 6 tree, 4 exit runway when able.
San Francisco
Ooh.
Tower Skywest
Didn't mean to do it.
4151
I
ready
should
for
have.
departing straight out at runway 28 right.
Oh, I never even turned on the taxi lights. Oops.
Skywest 415,
KLAX flow.
altimeter, 29.900, wind 236.
2990.
Straight out, departure
Wrong thing.
approved. takeoff runway 28 right.
Give me a second, lady.
Cleared for takeoff runway 28 right, Skywest 4151.
0 up, flight attendants advised. TCAS and
Skywest
radars
3634, turn next taxiway.
on. Doesn't matter too much for you, but I'll do it. CAS is good. So we'll, go ahead and set it to U. Switch off the parking brake. And we'll taxi onto the runway. So once we're in the air, what I'm going to do is, of course, autopilot engage. I'm going to turn on the navigation mode and the speed mode. And, yeah,
Skywest
should be good.
3634, turn next taxiway. Skywest 5617 number tree for landing. Follow the aircraft on final. Wind 236 at 19er.
Of
Clear
course,
to
we'll
land
brake
runway
here.
28 left.
And we'll apply takeoff thrust.
Horizon Air 2476, go around.
I'm sorry, Horizon Air. Oh, wait. Still sorry, but it wasn't my fault. Screw you.
Going around Horizon Air 2476.
80 knots. Fly a little nose down attitude just so
Skywest
she doesn't
363,
lift off
for exit
prematurely.
runway when able.
She's very sensitive when it comes to the rudder.
Horizon Air 2476, contact NorCal approach on 128 decimal tree 25.
Tail strike. The gear up.
Going to 128 decimal tree 25, Horizon Air 2476.
We'll we'll pass 1,000.
Skywest 3634, turn next taxiway.
Autopilot engage. Getting a frickin' TCAS. Now turning on the speed mode always cuts the this back down. We're just gonna raise that up a little. Just make sure. Now it gave me a TCAS. This is the first time I've ever gotten a TCAS alert. Anyways, acknowledge frequency
San
change.
Francisco Tower Skywest 4151, frequency change.
Flaps 1 degree. See, it's it's at a 10 degrees. No, oh yeah, probably
Going
because this
around
is still in
Skywest
turbo mode.
5617.
But doesn't climb. See, that's what I was talking about.
Skywest 5617, contact NorCal approach on 133 decimal 905.
Anyways, now I'm not actually gonna do this, but I do like tuning the radios.
363, for contact ground on 121 decimal 8.
This will be the only time I do it.
133 decimal 905 for Skywest 5617.
I just want to do it. Haha. Now, I know I said it climbs at barely any nose up attitude. And we're still at we're still climbing at a high rate of climb. And still at like a normal nose up attitude, so don't blame me. Bleeds and APU is off, yeah, and thrust reverser is off. We'll switch this back to auto once we're in a more stable flight path. So like once we're actually on our flight path. I mean we are. So like after a porta here. That's when I'll activate it. Pray for your eardrums, ladies and gents. We're going external. Wanted that screenshot of it in a bank. Well, that's nice to know that this thing has an actual traffic advisory. Okay, past 10,000. Landing lights off. strobe, and not, yeah, wait, no, just landing, taxiing, logo lights, strobes stay on, and we'll set the passenger signs to auto. Oh yeah, and we can increase our speed here to 270. That should hopefully allow us to climb, still at a high rate, with a oof. Actually, wait. The climb speed for this is 290. I remember that, and I was told that by a real CRJ pilot. So screw up. Why do you say APU?
Horizon Air
APU is not on. Why do you say
and
APU?
maintain 4,000 feet.
Why do you say APU?
Descend and maintain 4,000
This is
feet.
the first plane
Horizon
I've
Air
ever seen to have an
247
actual traffic advisory.
Horizon Air 2476 descend and maintain
I think that's pretty
3,100
cool.
feet.
Descend and maintain 3,100 feet. Horizon Air 2476.
So like I said, this plane does not have an auto thrust, as probably being able to tell by a big lack. I mean, you might think that this is an auto thrust. It is not. It is not. This is a very similar throttle to the Airbus, where, yeah, of course, idle, climb, you'd have toga here, and then MCT and flex temp here. Essentially, it doesn't have an auto thrust. That's really it. This climb thrust is just what you would set to for the plane, for the thrust of plane to climb at. You would
Horizon Air 24760
that's it.
13 miles southeast of San Francisco. Contact San Francisco
Once
Tower
we're at
on
cruise,
120.5
I have to manage my throttle. That's it. Now that ain't a bad thing. I've flown in the Cessna Citation, and wow, I've flown in the Cessna Citation CJ4 in this sim, and it's
Tower on 120.5. Horizon
it's
Air
gotten me used to it.
2476.
It has a very similar layout to the. Ooh, let me do that. Well, I learned that now. It has a very similar. Oh yeah. God, it has a very similar throttle quadrant to what this has. So I'm used to having to manage my throttle. And of course, every GA plane ever. However, this will be the longest flight I do in this plane so far. Now, I've done a very similar route to this in reverse in FSX. First video uploaded to this channel. Of course, in the Airbus A321, the default one from FSX, from Los Angeles to San Francisco. It is essentially the same route in reverse in an entirely different plane and an entirely different simulator. It's fantastic. And also, for $50, this is great. For $50, this is fantastic. And I've had to fly this plane manually. I've even had to fly a manual approach in this plane. There's a couple of things I noticed with it. It's very sensitive when flying manually, for one, mainly on elevator control. But also, it's very touchy and sensitive when it comes to what it thinks is too high of a sink rate. I'll be descending onto the runway at like 200 feet per minute, and I will be getting a pull up sink rate alarm, a GPWS alarm, telling me to pull up, which essentially would mean that I'm descending too fast. I'm sorry. I didn't know 200 feet per minute was too much. Heck, I could be in a nose-up attitude climbing and it'd probably give me a sink rate. I don't know. I've just chosen to ignore it, unless, of course, it's actually, you know, if I'm like 3,000 feet per minute flying into a mountain, okay, maybe I'd listen to it. 200 feet per minute descending onto the runway, no, I'm not going to listen to it. Now, also, this plane's cruise thrust is meant to be about, I mean, not thrust, but this plane's cruise speed is meant to be 300 knots, according to checklists. However, that will not work. I don't believe, at least, because we're 10,000 feet below, and also, apparently, there is a MD-11 and an MD-80 in the works. The MD-11's looking fantastic. The MD-80, haven't seen too much on it, but it's also looking fantastic. I want them. I need them. MD-11's a great plane, fantastic plane. It's a trijet. I love it. MD-80 is the MD-80. And looking at this plane, with its tail and its engine placement, this thing looks like the MD-80's baby cousin. If you took an MD-80, sliced it in half, that's what this plane looks like. Changed my mind. How am I so tired? I've only been up for like 5 hours. No, it's in half bank mode now, which well, that's what it means. It will bank at about half of what it usually does to make turns. I think it just does that at climb just because, well, you know, less you have to worry about, I guess. I don't know. It's more comfortable. It also does that. I think that's just kind of like be like, hey, you're almost there. Continue. Or I don't know. It just beeps at you when you're approaching whatever this is. Is that 2? I don't know. I don't get it. Now you'll also notice that it's automatically switched to Mach. And unlike our good pal the A320, I can actually take it out of Mach when I want to. So yeah. And here we are approaching our cruise altitude. Oh, and I just realized something that makes me feel like an idiot. Here we go. There we go. 250 miles away. And it gives us an ETE. So, about 41 minutes left. Now, I'm also pretty sure that this is not just a case of like, oh, you know, I don't think this is exactly how much you are from the airport, but I think this is how far away you are from the airport, along with your whatever your flight plan. So, you know, our flight plan, of course, isn't directly straight in. You know, it has turns, and I think it accounts for that too. No, I'm gonna go back on the throttle. I don't know a good cruise setting for this, but it's always at least like it's just I think here is what I usually have it at. So I want to try my best. I want to do my best to try and find a throttle setting that'll keep it even. To where it's not accelerating, it's not decelerating. That's very difficult to do because, of course, it's a jet. It's a jet. It's a very very precise. It has to be very precise. But I think I've gotten it. I'm gonna keep that up. I'm gonna keep the little speed indicator up as a kind of a guide, as you know, kind of like a this is what I should be at kind of thing. And on descent, we're gonna be using vertical speed. I'll just set that to like 2,000 feet per minute. This plane is actually very easy to fly. Now it says there's a traffic above us. Let's see. Wrong. How far away? How? 2.5 miles in front of us. Or is that below us? 348. So wouldn't that be about 35,000? Just about 334,800? And does that arrow mean we're above us? I mean, we're above them? Oh. Oh. I think I was correct then? Yeah. Because, we're above them. Oh, look at their jet stream. Look at their little contrail. I mean, look at our contrail. That was flat. That's real cool. Anyways, put you back at 20 miles. So we're just gonna be chasing them all the way to to Los Angeles, flying from Sanford. I'm stupid. I think we will. And yeah, I think I found a good throttle setting. Okay, I think we're slightly accelerating, though it could also just be wind, because I don't know. I think we're good. I think we're good. You know, even though this doesn't really affect anything or change anything at all, when I was flying, right, when I went on my flights in real life, they always dimmed the lights. So I'm gonna do that. It does not change anything. It doesn't even visually affect anything. It's completely inoperative, but it's the thought that counts. I mean, I think at least half this stuff in this cockpit is inoperative. I mean, Aerosoft didn't like me trash talking. Like, stuff like, well, actually, I mean, most of it does actually work. I don't mean it in any way like that. I more so mean that in a, as in, like, I honestly, I don't know how I mean it. But, like, stuff like this Skycam. Stuff like that. Stuff like, where is it? Stuff like this. The flight deck door unlock. Stuff like that, You know, I'm just realizing how stupid what I said was. Okay, almost everything does something at the very least. There's very few things that don't do anything. I mean, the oxygen masks technically do, but that's a very nice I'm gonna just stop talking. Most of this stuff is great because it's just the small things. Like, yeah, you know, it looks great having this thing fully modeled and the major things working, but just these small things, you know, I guess these small things do add to it. The quality of life things, like this oxygen mask, stuff like that. You know, this Skycam, because, you know, why not? Having this printer there, being able to dim the lights or adjust the lights, having the ability to mess with this, despite the fact that they don't really add to anything, they are just small, very minor QOLs that are great. Now, we have whatever this is, and I don't exactly know what it is. I think this might be a backup. I don't know. I don't know what it does. I've never used it. Now, I do know one thing, though. We are at a very good speed, and we're banking off to Burgle. What I'm gonna do, right, while I still have time, I'm gonna go make myself some food. So, be right back. Well, I got me some food. The issue is I planned on descending in about 20 miles, and I need to wait for this to cool down, because no thank you, I don't want to burn myself. I'm also sorry that the camera was like this the entire time I was gone. How hot are you? Probably very. If the plate is hot, you're probably hotter. And if not, I'm worried. Oh my god, the plate's hotter. I mean, they're still hot, but... That my mouth is more resilient to burns. Oh, not. Oh, god. Oh, my god. Man, that burns. You know, they say... If the they say if the exterior isn't hot, the chances of the center being hot are low. I would like to update that fact and say it is false. Because wow. I'm gonna dial in 5,000 here. Correction, I'm going to attempt to dial in 5,000 there. Alright, then we're gonna hit vertical speed 2,000 feet per minute. And descent checklist, landing elevation set. Again, not gonna worry about that. Fuel 4,780 kilograms. TCAS is set, radar is on. CAS is checked. Landing data set. Maybe, I don't know. Approach briefing. We're gonna be landing. Oh no, I'm not a pilot. I don't know how to do a proper approach briefing. I'm gonna really hate myself if I smack my lips or anyone can hear me eating. I'm gonna hate myself. Now, the speed mode could work. However, I'm not a pilot or an aviation engineer. However, what it's meant to do is it's meant to keep a speed. It's meant to select a vertical. It's meant to go at a vertical speed to that maintains the speed that you've selected. So, like, if I set it to 250 and wanted to climb, of course, it would find a vertical speed to climb at while also retaining 250 knots at the given thrust. However, I do not see how that's possible in a descent. I feel like if I was descending and tried to use that, of course, it'd be impossible. Because the second, even at idle thrust, gravity going down, even at idle thrust, even if the engines were off, would speed you up. I don't see how it's possible. For maybe using the speed brake, but it's just easier to use vertical speed. It's more, it's more predictable. What if I can finish these before I actually begin the approach? Or I hope I can. Just monitoring my microphone, seeing if it peaks, if it goes up at all while I'm chewing. I don't want it to. If I see it that it does, I'll be real upset. It did a little. I'm very upset now. Wait. I could just do this. Alright. It is done. Don't know why I didn't do that earlier. Oh, didn't know. Don't know why I didn't do that early. I'm done. I'll stop trying. Ah, see, okay. This little diamond here. As with anything, you know, once it hits here, the plane is meant to catch the glide slope and then follow it all the way down to the ground. However, what I noticed with this, when I was doing a flight to Atlanta, of course, approach mode was on. It intercepted the localizer. We lined up at the runway. It was meant to catch the glide slope. It said it did. However, the diamond just kept on going and kept on going and kept on going. Our altitude wasn't changing. Also, I'm gonna change our altitude hold as well to 3,000. And this is also what it means. See how this is set to 20 miles, and see how this is the airport, and it's coming in 10 miles away, and yet it still says here LAX 48 miles. Yeah. We also need to slow down a bit more. And get lower, I mean. Where is LAX? Is that it? Kind of hope that's not it. Is it? Oh, it is. Alright, it'll be fine. So, I am gonna have to set the course. The localizer course. I believe I have to set it anyways. I'm not too sure. But I've done it in every other plane. And considering in every other plane you set it in an MCDU, and I have not done it with this plane. Or I can do it in this plane. That's the only way I can do it. I just 262. And is there any straightaways that I can get? Yeah, okay, there is. Here. We'll set the heading. Just sync it up. Turn on heading, hold, sync. Set nav source. No, it'd be nice if I could set it up. Alright, never mind. Don't know why that's not doing anything. Go back to nav. I don't know why that's not doing anything. Anyways, before landing checklist, flight attendant advised we'll turn on the passenger signs. The seatbelt signs, I mean. Dust reversers armed, and then of course, you know, flaps and gear and all that, but man, we really need to drop some altitude here, or this won't be possible. Should also probably start putting out some flaps here soon. Oh, throttle is idle. Alright. Maybe I don't have to set the localizer. At least the heading. I have to, though. There's no way I can't. There's no way I don't. Well, I don't have to, but it would probably be wise to. Anyways, we'll turn on the landing and logo lights, taxi lights, and all that. As we approach 10,000, we'll use the speed brake here to slow us down. And because I don't know this plane too well, I'm going to be way below. I'm going to be doing a low and slow approach. Simply because I don't know the plane that well. We go flaps 1 degree. A single degree of flaps. What'd I just do? Somehow just disconnected the autopilot? Don't ask me how. Was it because I touched the trim wheel? Yep. Alright. Don't do that anymore, me. Go flaps 8 degrees. Now I'm going to be paying attention strongly to this. Which, can I bring that out? No. I'm going to be paying it strongly to this. Which has our velo, which is our gear extension here. 220 knots, and then of course everything else for the flaps. You know, flaps 1 degree, 230, flaps 8. Pretty much, we're not going to have to worry about reducing our speed too much until we start actually getting onto approach and start putting out more flaps and all that. We're going to apply some throttle, try and maintain our current airspeed. Try the best to. Which I actually probably could have done by giving you the brake. Speed brake. And turn the heading hold here. Get it on a path on the same course, which is 250. Set heading. Now, can I set it? Yeah. Okay, so it's 267, I believe. I don't have it up anymore. And so, from here, what we would do is hit the approach mode. But I think, what about now? Would that work? I don't know. What are our flaps? 8. I bet we go flaps 20. We're actually gonna hit the approach mode. That way it can intercept the localizer. Oh my lord. Never mind. What I'm going to do is something that you would definitely not do. We're gonna disconnect the autopilot and fly manually here. We're just gonna enter a left flight director off. We're just gonna try and enter a spiral here. You would not do this. I don't think you would do this. You know how I said we're gonna do a low and slow? Well, apparently we're gonna do a high and slow. Apparently, we're just gonna enter this little turn here. This little spiral, just to kind of shave us down on the altitude here. We'll shave it down the altitude. And we'll get lined back up the runway. I'll just hand fly. I guess I'll just hand fly it in for the rest of the flight. We'll go ahead and put our gear down, which look at that. Now I should probably enter the cockpit before something bad happens because I'm busy looking at the plane rather than flying the plane. Now one thing, I know some things about this plane. What I do not know about this plane is how to do a go-around. How to vector in a direct to. As far as I know, I can't. I'd have to rely on ATC giving me vectors, which is shoddy. Very shoddy. Look at that dude. Is that JetBlue? Can't tell. Looks like an A380 from here. Because that's like the go-to generic plane. You could have a Cessna, but it doesn't have a... It doesn't... like, it could have what's meant to be like an A318. But since there's no A318 model... You know, instead of going for like the A330 model or the A320 model that I have that's in the game. Instead of going for that or anything, nah, it's like, hey... Double-decker 4-engine jet. It's so stupid. You could have an Embraer show up as an A380. I've had JetBlues show up as an A380. It don't make sense. Anyways, we're flaps 20. And flaps 30 is 185.
We are about to land. Please remain seated until we have stopped.
Yeah, see? Would you look at that? Now the plane's gonna be getting mad at me because I'm below what my altitude hold is set to. But that's okay. So again, you would not, in a real world situation, and that's, you would just call a missed approach, you'd get vectored somewhere. You would not do a spiral. You might. I don't know. I'm not a pilot. Test reverses are armed. So, like I said, she is a little sensitive. I'm gonna give her some nose up trim here. Just a little. We'll go flaps 30 degrees now. This plane really is it's a joy to fly manually. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic to fly this plane manually. I love it. I don't really like flying airliners manually, but planes like this, I don't know. This plane is just a fantastic plane to fly manually. I don't know why. This is 25 left, correct? Well, yeah, 25 left. I can never get it right if this is 25 left or if the other pair of runways, the other set of runways over there to our right, is the 25s. This is now, like I said, she is a tad bit sensitive. It's not really an issue with the plane; it's an issue with my joystick. So if it's a little jerky, if the movements are a little jerky on elevator and stuff, that could be a reason why. Now, is that a plane landing on our runway? Please don't. Oh, it is. Well, I don't think they're gonna vacate in time. Eee. Let's give her some throttle. Yep, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has aborted the landing. Please keep your seatbelt fastened as we
Did
will be landing
he
shortly.
despawned on the runway? Are you joking? Screw you. We'll back off the throttle. It's her left bank, I guess, here. We'll keep her in climb. It's a little desync, apparently. Actually, no, we won't keep her in climb. We're going to be back off the throttle here. That sucks, man. That really sucks. I said she's a joy to hand fly. Does not mean I want to do it for too much longer. I'm having to pull back on my stuff. If I go neutral. Yeah. Of course, we have a trim wheel for things like that, so maybe I should use it. Huh, that was actually a pretty good traffic pattern. considering I don't really have many landmarks. This plane's not nice to look out of. That was actually a pretty good traffic pattern there. We'll fly a bit farther out, and then we'll come back around. But that's nice to know. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, the captain has aborted the landing. Yes, I did. I didn't want to land on an A380, and then it despawned. I think there's another one landing. Go around. Okay. Into the left bank here. Put some more flaps out. We'll put the gear down. As putting the flaps out gives, wants this plane to, putting the flaps out at the high speeds close to the limit makes this plane want to balloon a little. I'm really, me and this trim wheel are going to become best buds after this. Flaps full, just so I don't have to have such an aggressive nose up. Is that a plane taking off from a parking lot? Oh no, it's a plane going through downtown Los Angeles. Huh, alright. That's fine. I mean, you missed the runway by about 5 miles, but okay. You do you, man. I think I'm too far to the right there. Yep. Again, she's a joy to fly manually. Not that I know how to. But okay, here we go. We're back on final. We're above the glide slope, but we're back on final. Flaps are full, gear is down, reversers armed, landing lights on, passenger signs on. We are good to go.
500.
I'm gonna try and follow the pappy lights. Not that I don't think they're accurate. I really don't. There have been times to where I'm like way above and it's like, no, you're too low. There have been times where I'm way too low and it's like, you're too high. I'm like shaving the ground. It's like, hey, you need to descend, man. And there's times to where I might as well be in space. And it's like, hey, climb. But I'll try my best to listen to the pappy. However, it does not look like it's going well. Best reverse is engaged. Speed brakes deployed. No auto brake. So we'll brake manually. Not too aggressively, but just enough. Why is that a... Looks like a Hawaiian. Just sitting there. Disengage the reversers. Retract the speed brakes. Retract the flaps. And voila. Hold short here. Park and brake on. After landing checklist, APU on. Transponder off. Radar off. Oh. Lights set. Landing lights off. Taxi lights on. Kick off the strobes. Probes off. There we go. We will tune to LA ground. And we will request a taxi to gate.
Los Angeles ground, Skywest 415, one taxi to the gate.
Skywest 415,
Fun fact to
one
notice,
taxi to gate
when you
Bravo
land,
46
this
Bravo
resets.
by taxiway Hotel 6 Hotel.
I like that.
Juliet, cross runway 7 left Bravo E Charlie 10 Charlie Charlie 9er.
Taxiing to gate
that on the
Bravo
opposite
46
side of the
Bravo
airport?
using taxiway Hotel 6 Hotel Juliet, cross runway 7 left Bravo 8 Charlie 10
They just want me
Charlie
to
Charlie 9er,
taxi
Skywest
far away.
4151.
I don't blame them after my spiral. I don't blame them after my spiral go around and I don't blame them after I did a missed approach spiral down go around, do a left hand traffic pattern and slap back down. Somehow didn't get a terrain call out. Is that a shadow or okay? No, that's just a weird roof. All right. That's fine. I have somehow, I do not know how, but I have somehow touched down. I've somehow touched down. Again, she is a very nice plane to fly. She's
Skywest
odd to fly,
4151,
but
hold position caution, the departing generic.
Hold position Skywest 4151.
what plane? Hey, Big Bertha. Freaking A380 on the ramp. What plane? What plane? Is there a plane taking off on the taxiway? Harrison Ford, where are you? There's literally no plane taking off. Maybe on the far side. You know what? Screw you, air traffic control. That's one thing I hate about ATC in this game. It gives you instructions that are just stupid. Telling me to hold short on a taxiway because of a plane taking off. That makes sense. Not when there's no planes around me. There's one plane around me, and it's an A380 shut down at the ramp. At the gate.
Skywest
And then this.
1 continue taxi.
When you just ignore them and you continue moving, and then it tells you to continue taxi, it's like,
4151, hold position caution, the departing generic.
I'll do a check before I cross.
Hold
I'll do a
position
check
Skywest
for a
4151.
departing plane. 7 left, nothing. 25 right. It goes to the external cam. Also nothing. I'm not listening to you. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. You're telling me to hold because of a departing plane. If I do a check and there is no plane anywhere near the runway that I am crossing,
Los
It's just-
Angeles ground,
it's
FedEx
just not.
849er, requesting
how much you want to
pushback.
bet that FedEx plane is one of these A380s?
FedEx 849er pushback, request accepted.
I don't think you accept a pushback
415,
request. I think you
continue taxi.
approve a pushback request, but I am not a pilot, so I will shut my mouth.
Roger, Skywest 4151.
I'll be actually very upset if this A380 is that FedEx plane. Oh my god, I think it is. Are they pushing back? Wow, Microsoft Flight Sim. You thought you decide. I'm looking up that plane. I'm looking up that plane just to see what type it is, to see if it's in any way excusable. FedEx 849. Now, I will actually hold short for you. LA to Memphis, Tennessee. And it is
Los
a
Angeles ground, FedEx
MD-11.
849er, requesting the end of pushback.
It's an MD-11 FedEx, a FedEx Cargo MD-11.
FedEx 849er, request to end pushback
And they decide to
received.
simulate it. Microsoft says, hey, that plane that's an MD-11 and it's a cargo plane, let's spawn it in at the passenger gates
Los Angeles
as an
ground,
Airbus
FedEx
A380.
849er, with Gulf ready to taxi IFR. FedEx 849er taxi to and hold short of runway 25 right via taxiway Charlie 9er, Charlie Charlie 1 Bravo Bravo 1.
In the game's
Contact
defense,
tower
though,
on
in the
119er
Sim's
decimal
defense,
8 when ready.
the only, actually there is no excuse. It could have been a 747. That's closer than an A380, and it has a cargo variant.
Taxiing hold short runway 25 right using taxiway Charlie 9er, Charlie
But in the
Charlie
game's
1 Bravo,
defense,
Bravo
the only
1 FedEx
generic
849er.
model, I guess, that has more than 2 engines is the A380 model, which doesn't make sense at all. I also have generic plane models turned off, so that plane should literally be anything other. Why did I say that? That plane should be anything other than an A380. I have generic plane models turned off for AI and it immediately replaced that A380 with another A380. Jesus. Please don't spawn an A380 inside of me. I beg. I feel like I'm off the line, but alright. Stay away. Okay. Set the parking brake. Shut down. Parking brake on. Seatbelt signs off. Thrust levers into shut off. Ding, 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 ding. Anti-ice is all off. Fuel pumps off. Now, are you also fuel pumps? I'd imagine so. Pretty sure those boost pumps are meant to go off after engine start, but I have no idea. Beacon light off. Nose wheel steering off. Go to aircraft here. We'll put in the chocks. We'll disconnect the parking brake. Let's check our wheel temps. Wow. We'll open up the door
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open.
and
Please make
bring
your
in
way
the
to the exit,
jetway.
and please make sure you have all your
And even though it
personal
doesn't matter,
items
we'll
and
open up the
carry-on
cargo
luggage.
doors. Oh yeah, and this is also meant to be bright now. I still love this plane. I love this plane. I'm pretty sure this is like a test. Yep. Now I believe you can actually, yeah, you can see the stick shaker. Well, correction. You can see this deciding nose down is the way to go. It also, I think, shows up with a little CAS message saying stall. No, it shows up with something that says contact ignition. Alright, and I don't know. We'll close the cargo doors, I guess, and we'll just do the terminating shutdown. So chocks and brakes off, IRS off, anti-ice is of course all off, and the emergency lights go off. We will turn off the windshield heat, and cause why not? Turn off the packs. Hydraulic pumps. All off. External lights. God, it's so bright. External lights all off. APU off.
Captain, all passengers have left the plane.
Thank you. Cockpit lights off and battery master off. 58-minute flight in the Bombardier CRJ700. I've almost reached 200 hours of flight time. Yay. Door. Oh, it froze. Alright. And then we'll just power off. Real quick. I know I don't use this, haven't used it yet, but it has a HUD. It has a HUD. It has a HUD. Alright. Well, that's it. Fantastic plane. How would you look at that? An A380 and a seven five. I'll say a 757 taxi. Alright. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Don't know what it'll be, don't know when it will be, but see ya.